Welcome.
Thank you. All right, hello everybody. Like she said, I'm Olivia, and I'm just going to be giving a little presentation about marine plastics in the Great Lakes, and I'm going to talk about my experience with EarthEcho as well, just to kind of tell you guys about it, because I had no idea what EarthEcho International was before about a year ago. Basically, my mom sent me a Facebook ad for this program, and I was like, okay, let me just give it a try and see what this is. So, EarthEcho International is a global organization. It is founded by Philippe Cousteau, who is the great grandson of Jacques Cousteau. And it is just this global organization, and they have all these different programs that are geared towards protecting the environment and protecting the oceans and lakes. So they have programs about water testing. They have programs about blue carbon, which is like the oxygen and kelp in the oceans. And then, of course, they have the marine plastics ambassadors. So I ended up applying to the program and getting in. I applied last minute. I was kind of, should I do it? Should I not do it? And I'm very glad that I did. So we ended up having 2 Zoom calls a week for about a few months. And during the Zoom calls, we were meeting with different professionals and working on scientific solutions for plastics, working in corporate spaces with big companies and seeing like their impact and what they could do, working with entrepreneurs that were starting their own businesses to kind of target this issue. So it was a really good opportunity. And we also had some in-person events in Chicago. We had a kickoff event and we were able to go to the Blue Paradox exhibit. So it was very cool. And then we also went to Seattle and we were able to meet up with all of our ambassadors in our group. So it was about 25 of us. And then we were able to meet up with a couple different ambassador groups. So it was really cool to kind of get a bunch of different perspectives on different issues, and it was very cool. So, continual clothing. So, you guys all have a little handout about it, but part of the program was coming up with our own campaign in our communities to kind of see what can we do about this where we live, because it is such a big program or such a big problem. It's pretty important to kind of scale down to your own community, see what you can do about it. So I ended up coming up with continual clothing. So part of it is business, and then part of it is more based on education and awareness and events. So I have my mission statement up there: fighting plastic pollution and textile waste in the Great Lakes by spreading awareness with fun, eco-friendly merchandise and engaging workshops. So for the merchandise, right now I have t-shirts and stickers. I'm also currently working on hats and hoodies, which I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully that'll be soon. And all the designs on the shirts, you can see the front and the back is different. So each design is meant to highlight a different part of the Great Lakes ecosystem, kind of the food web. So we've got a little tiny microorganism, a zooplankton, and then a walleye and a heron. And then the back of each shirt has their habitat. So kind of trying to show where these creatures live, what is actually being affected by marine plastics, kind of show what it's harming. And then for events, I have hosted a clothing swap at the Alpena Library. That was very fun for me. I got to do a little presentation kind of like this. And then everybody brought some of their old clothes and we swapped them and kind of talked about the importance of not being wasteful with our clothes and that kind of thing. Okay, we'll get more into textile waste in the presentation, but that kind of thing. And then I have done a visible mending workshop at Alpena Community College, and that was also very fun. It was during the ice storm, so it's kind of hard to turn out, but it was fun. But yeah, little things like that. They're fun, they're educational, and yeah, it's just a good time. Also working on collaborating with local partners. So if you guys are familiar with Great Lakes Great Responsibility, they are a nonprofit based here in Alpena. They do a lot of cleanups and education. They do some grants for people to be able to do projects like this. So very cool. And then I also have a pledge that you guys will get later. Don't worry. But just to kind of have something for people to take with them and kind of remember what I've been talking about. So I've been talking a lot about what I'm doing. So what is the actual problem? So plastics enter the Great Lakes every single day, endangering the lakes themselves, marine life like fish, animals, plants, different ecosystems, and even human health, which is a big issue that I definitely want to gear more stuff like this towards. So when I'm talking about the marine life and ecosystems, plastic, as kind of, you get told reuse, reduce, recycle your whole life, and you kind of know that plastic doesn't go away, but it's important to think about this, how it doesn't go away and it gets into these different systems, and it's can be very, very harmful when you're thinking about tourism and the economy. Nobody's going to want to go to the lake if it's full of trash. It's just not fun. You won't want to do that. And then there's so many jobs, especially in Michigan, that are based around working on the lakes and tourism and fishing and everything else. So it's a big deal. And then that little fact about human health. There have been microplastics, which are teeny tiny pieces of plastics. They don't go away, but they do break down a lot. They have been found in the human brain, in our bloodstream. They've been found in placentas. It's really freaky where they found it, and it's kind of dangerous because I don't know what's gonna happen when I don't know where I'm gonna be in like 20 years or something, and I'm gonna have plastic in my body. So it's definitely scary, and we don't know what's gonna happen. So I've got some little facts here. So 22 million pounds of plastic enter the Great Lakes every single year, and it's hard to think about what 22 million pounds of something looks like because I don't think I've ever seen 22 million anything at once. But yeah, it's just crazy how much actually does get in. And then, so 86% of litter that is entering the Great Lakes in a given year is either partially or fully plastic. So you might be thinking about paper, just random little things like, oh, it just kind of goes away. But if that much of it is plastic, it's not going away. So it's definitely a huge problem. And then again, talking about human health and the ecosystems. So Great Lakes as a freshwater reservoir support nearly 50 million people in the US and Canada. It's another big number. It's hard to picture, but it's a lot. And so many people depend on it for fresh water, for drinking and fishing and everything else. And when there's plastic and that stuff, it is very dangerous for it going through the food web with like the little designs I had, the little microorganisms that get eaten by the fish, that get eaten by the birds. So it really can affect everything all the way up to humans. So how does textile waste play a part in plastic pollution? So usually when I'm thinking about plastic, I'm not really thinking about my shirt or my pants or anything like that. And it's not really something that I had thought about before being in the Marine Plastics Ambassador program that clothing was an issue. I just didn't really know. But microfibers can be a really dangerous and important form of microplastics, and they can harm everything that I've been talking about just as much as the plastic bottle or the bag or whatever else it may be. Even though, if you look at a shirt, it doesn't look like it's plastic, but they can be made out of synthetic textiles like polyester and nylon, things that aren't just grown from the earth that don't go away. So it can be pretty scary. And there's a picture how some of this is from clothes and all kinds of different things. So it can be anything. So let's get into landfills and fast fashion. So a large portion of textile waste ends up in landfills. So as you can see, that is a landfill with lots of clothes in it. And yeah, something else I didn't really think about before that, picture a landfill, it's just a bunch of garbage and gross stuff, but there can be a lot of other things that people just get rid of way too soon. And then the textile industry produces about 17 million tons of waste every single year. So just thinking about how since our clothing is made out of these synthetic things and they're made to be going along with trends, people are wearing all kinds of crazy stuff every other week, new things all the time. And they know that they can kind of get people to follow the trends and that they can make the clothing very cheap out of the synthetic materials and that it can just be thrown away just like that or it can break and people don't really want to fix it. So, very dangerous. Okay, so the last two slides are kind of depressing. It's not very fun to think about all this stuff harming the environment, but there's definitely a lot of things that we can do that can help the issue and kind of make us feel like we're doing better. So, first thing, borrow, thrift, and repair first. So, if you, I don't know, maybe you're going to a wedding or a big event and you need a fancy new dress, maybe you don't need to go and buy a fancy new dress. You can borrow one from one of your friends or do something like that. And it's definitely something that I like to do because it's just kind of fun to see what's in my friend's closet and it's a lot cheaper than going and buying something else as a college student. Um, Thrifting, I love thrifting so much. Go to like the local St. Vincent, stuff like that. It's so much fun. And it keeps those clothes out of getting into the landfill. If things don't get bought, they have to get rid of it too. They can't just keep it. And it's just kind of fun to go and see what hidden gems you can find anyway at the thrift store. So very, very fun. And then repairing, which I think has been kind of lost with me and my peers a little bit. I don't know, a lot of times when things break, we just throw it away. We don't want to patch a hole. We don't know how to sew. So that's kind of something I'm trying to bring back with the visible mending stuff, kind of make it fun. Yeah, because it can be a fun craft and it can be something to do, or maybe if you don't repair something, you'll make it into something new or find something else to do with it. Next thing, make your voice heard to businesses and policymakers. This is so important, guys. I know, especially when I got into working on this stuff, it can be hard to just be one person and you're trying to tell these people, guys, this is important. We should care about it. So, definitely getting with groups, and there's a lot of people that they want to hear your voice and you may not realize it. Like if you have a favorite shop downtown and you notice they're using plastic bags and you're like, hey, that's not cool. Maybe we should think about switching. Those people want to hear what you have to say. They're especially small businesses and they're in their community. They care about their community. They want to do what makes the customer happy. And so you kind of have some control in that way. And then especially with policymakers, I mean, part of their job is to represent us and to do what's best for us. So, definitely make sure to let them know if you can. One thing that I definitely want to host soon is a letter writing event. Maybe just hang out with a group of people and have some fun, but also take some time to talk about issues that might be important and try to get in contact with people that can change some policies. So, very important. Another great thing to do is just get involved in any way you can. There's probably more people than you think that are interested in this just by talking to friends and talking to different groups that different organizations they want to get involved in things so you can kind of bring these issues to them and they might be interested. There's also a lot of groups. Maybe you guys will find yourself at a continual clothing event soon to get involved or the nonprofits like Great Lakes Great Responsibility. Maybe you could go to a cleanup or just find other people that are interested and try to make small change. And then spreading the word, something that I have kind of had to learn is like the people in your life want to care, they want to know about what you care about and they want to be involved in what you're doing. Definitely when I first started learning about this stuff, I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna get a straw, but I'm not gonna say anything about it. I'm not gonna be like, hey, you shouldn't do that. Just kind of do my own thing. But I think just talking to people about what you care about can get them interested too. It's been really cool to see, just even in my household, if I just am telling my parents, oh yeah, I saw this thing and it's really cool and we should try it, and how easy it is for people to just care about it because you do, or they want to talk to you and listen and that kind of thing. So it's definitely very important to talk to people about what you care about. Okay, guys, I have the pledge. I'm gonna pass it out. You guys don't have to turn it into me or anything, but it's just kind of like a little reminder, like I keep mine in my car, and my mom has hers on the fridge. So it's just kind of like a little reminder, like, hey, this is what I learned, and maybe oops, sorry. Maybe it'll inspire some habits or something like that. You guys all get one? Okay. Yeah, definitely not going to be hunting anyone down like, I know you signed my pledge. What are you doing? But just as a little here. There you go. There you go. But yeah, just as a reminder, and if you want to share that message with it's in your household, be like, guys, look what I did. Um, yeah, so this slide is just some ways to connect with me if anybody's interested in any events or anything on the business side. I have a Instagram, Facebook, and a website. And I'm also going to be holding an event at the Alpena Library in Harrisville, which will be a visible mending workshop on June 6th at 3 p.m. And I think it's RSVP, so hopefully there's still spots if anyone's interested. Um, but yeah, that's my presentation. Yes, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I should have brought a picture, brought something, but it's kind of, it can be over a whole, or it can just be like if you have a shirt and you never wear it anymore and you want to do something cool on it. There's like different styles like shishiko, and it's just basically like sewing, but very obvious and visible on purpose to be kind of fashionable, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of fun on jeans, like if you get a hole in your jean and then now you have a flower, so something cool like that. Yeah.
That's another source of the micro.
Yeah.
Micro.
Yep.
There's a lot of literature in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Sequence. Plus, I'm trying to remember how many gallons, hundreds of gallons of things to make of water to make one t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's another piece of it.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of something that I need to get at my house. They have a lot of filters that you can put on there for your washing machine. It's supposed to catch a lot of the stuff that comes out. I haven't gotten one yet, but definitely something if anyone is interested, I can maybe try to find something. But yeah.
If we wanted to order one of the t-shirts or purchase, do we do it through there or?
Yeah, I'm working on getting them in a store somewhere right now, but right now it's kind of all through Facebook and Instagram. On the website too, there's a place where you can it's like contact me or reach out and you can do that on there too. Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how confident are you that the things we take to recycling, that it actually does not go into the landfill? I mean, many times.
Yeah.
My kids are saying it just goes back in the landfill and they believe that.
Yeah, a lot of it is very hard because you don't know what is true and what unless you go and you're seeing it for yourself, so it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Um, there's a lot of work being done right now trying to make recycling more accessible and more easier so that it actually will get done because a lot of it says, oh, this is recyclable, but it has to be cleaned out a certain way. You have to take certain things off of it. It has to be, I don't know, like it's all so specific that if it's not done completely how they need it to be for like machines and everything else, then it will just get thrown away. So that's why a lot of it's like jars and stuff. We always keep our jars and we'll use it for glasses and everything's like that. But yeah, it's definitely a little frustrating right now. I think that's why a lot of it with trying to reach out to people who do those kind of jobs and are in those spaces to make importance for it and keep trying to make the processes better. It's very important. But
We have the person who's running the Northeast Michigan recycling activity in June.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so that'll be the first.
Yeah, good questions for them. Yeah.
I had read an article or listened to a story sometime that time ago about clothes recycling.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that with all fabrics? Do you reconstitute the threads? What exactly, do you know the process at all?
I don't know the exact process. It's definitely something I need to like look into more. A lot of them are also like smaller companies and groups that are doing it since it's still becoming adopted. But I would guess and assume that as more time goes on, that it will be more doable for different kinds of fabrics. Yes.
Was there like, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Plastics associated with cotton these days?
Well, if it's a cotton blend, they would have.
Oh, cotton blend, yeah.
Yeah.
But even cotton will, I mean, it'll shred, tiny pieces will fluff off during the laundry, end up in the bone. And it's, I'm not as worried about that with the plastic and
Yeah.
the synthetic, but yeah, it's good. And in the interest of recycling, I'm just moved and I'm just about all unpacked. And if anybody needs moving boxes, I follow them. I lived in Fairbanks for 23 years and the big U-Haul store there had like a bin inside their front door. And you could bring in your broken down moving boxes. And put them in there and then when people needed boxes, I could pick them up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Post stuff like that, Alpena buy and sell basically.
Yeah.
If it's free, it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Our
Right.
culture makes it hard because, new fashions every year. And
Mm-hmm.
I have a niece that goes into the resale and she takes, something and takes the arms off and creates something totally.
Yeah.
different for fun, which I think is a great.
Yeah, it's so cool. There's a lot of stuff like that out there. Yeah.
Is there any movement in Michigan to ban plastic bags?
Yeah, so Michigan has a ban on bans, so so we can't ban things.
The governor did that.
Yeah.
Our previous governor.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
She's gotta get through the public.
Yeah.
Like plastics in the water, it's like when we eat fish, we must be eating.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but the ban on bans is something actually I have an opportunity in July. I'm going to DC and hopefully I'm going to be able to talk to some of our representatives. So definitely going to be bringing up ban on bans because it's just yeah, because it's so hard to do things when we can't get rid of stuff. So yeah.
go to the grocery store. Well, there's heat and nobody's got, I mean, so many have plastic bags instead of taking cloth bags and.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of those.
Yeah.
But a lot of those plastic films are fully recyclable. You can reconstitute those, so they're working plastic. And we did that.
I mean, at least Meyer, you can take anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right back to the
I have to go
film
to-
place, different process.
To go to Florida's question though, are they really getting recycled?
Yeah, there's so much plastic being recycled. I read once that like a lot of it's shipped to Asia. And they don't really have the facilities or the desire to process. and
Right.
Recycle the sheer amount of plastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big problem with the clothes too. If stuff doesn't get sold or they have so much that's just in waste, they will just ship it over to these foreign countries and then they kind of have to take that on. It's not fair to them and it's kind of just us trying to get rid of it and it's just sad. So but
You got into those schools to talk to little kids about this at all?
I'm actually working on something right now for this next year. I want to do a competition, like a kind of a drawing competition, but for a shirt design. So I really want to go into classrooms and talk to them about it, and then have like a handout for them to color in and do their design. So kind of like a competition, but also education. So that'd be kind of cool.
That could make a change in their family.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They go home, be like, Mom, look what I learned, and then kind of try to be like sponges. So,
Take the elementary school kids to the beach. Here.
Oh. And you know, it's just not. It's distressing how many cigarette butts they pick up.
mm-hmm.
You get paid for that?
Pardon?
You get paid for that?
He should. He should, but yeah, you know, I can't remember all the teachers that are involved in it, but they take kids to the beach. And
Yeah,
do you know, grids and how much junk do they find in each grid, and it's just appalling.
yeah.
You know,
Horrible.
what I would pick up is we've got a section of activity keeps paying
Mm-hmm.
cigarette butts and it's like.
It's horrible. No, every cleanup I've gone to, I would say cigarette butts are like the biggest one every time.
Cigarette butt. I had a friend, well, one of his, and this was back in the eighties, when people smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And they were visiting him on his, part of his driveway. Before they left, they took out their ashtray that he used to have, like, they just dumped it onto the driveway. And left, like, they didn't think it was.
It's yeah,
anything wrong with that.
no consideration for that stuff.
Yeah, well, not so well.
So Olivia, I was
Mhm.
thinking about going into the schools,
Mm.
in the class at Thunder Bay Junior High, you know, I'm thinking it's called food soul fun. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
I mean, all they do is make a pillow there, but that might be a place that
yeah,
influence them to make a project that you're thinking of.
for sure. Even to go in and be like, hey, why don't everybody bring in something for their house and like take an old shirt or something to make their pillow out of or something like that. That's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I've made a few tote bags out of like old t-shirts. That's something I was gonna bring today. But yeah, if you guys look on like the social media or the website or anything, there should be some pictures of those. And I'm planning on posting kind of a tutorial soon on how to do it. So hopefully people will do that and they can use that instead of the plastic ones, but very cool. Yep. Yeah, thank you guys.